Coming out of the pandemic and looming recessions, people are out of work and need help getting by.
And during the winter season, the need for help is even more pressing. What we have defined as vulnerable populations is changing. It is crucial that social service agencies focus on ensuring individuals have access to food, shelter, and clothing during the colder months.
By addressing these issues, social services can play a critical role in helping individuals and families weather the challenges of the winter season.
That is what today is all about, getting you the resources that you need.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
Greetings and welcome to this week's highlights from across the district. Students from Columbus Alternative High School, Eastmore Academy, Fort Hays, Independence, and Northland High Schools recently competed in the inaugural Just Right Ohio Columbus City Regional Tournament on December 2nd. In Divisions 1 and 2, participants tackled creative writing prompts. Fort Hays emerged as the overall grand champion. 6 poetry winners advanced to the state competition on May 9th, and creative writing winners will be announced in 2 weeks. Kudos to Fort Hays for their outstanding achievement. Score! Columbus City Schools' Special Olympics squad is teaming up with Topgolf Columbus to swing into some sporting fun. Led by the dynamic Special Olympics coordinator, John Essen, our crew has already aced hoops and track and field. Now get ready for the newest additions, flag football, soccer, and the coolest of them all, golf. Ready, set, tee off for an extraordinary journey into sports for all abilities. Colerain Elementary students received a generous donation of 250 Chromebooks from AT&T. The excitement continued as COSI provided learning lunchboxes and conducted engaging science experiments. A heartfelt thank you to our partners for investing in the education of our youngest learners. A special congratulations to Carmen Pinter, Intervention Specialist at Northland High School, named Special Olympics Ohio's Educator of the Year. A role model, advocate, and champion, Pinter, driven by personal experience, ensures her students feel included and welcome. Her dedication to the school's Special Olympics program fosters inclusivity and community connection.
We are very fortunate today to be here with the President and CEO of MidOhio Food Collective, Matt Habash. And today we're going to talk about the vision, the mission, and the great work that they do to support Central Ohio. Matt, thank you for being with me today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
As we get started and as we are in this great big warehouse, talk to me a little bit about the work, the mission and vision of the MidOhio Food Collective.
Well, our mission's pretty straightforward. It's to basically feed people with one nourishing meal at a time while we co-create a community where everyone thrives. So think about good nutritious food today, and let's go upstream and try to address some of the root causes of why people are hungry. It's a unique opportunity. We've rebranded ourselves about in 19, bad timing right at the beginning of the pandemic, but it really was a time about recognizing we were more than a food bank. So we're in the food bank, which is one of our 5 assets. So we also have a MidOhio farm, so we have a big farm operation up on the hilltop and over off of Olentangy Road by Channel 4. We also have a MidOhio pharmacy program where we connect doctors and healthcare professionals to people that need food and making sure that people that are food insecure get food. We have a MidOhio kitchen, where we actually produce meals to cook for after-school programs, summer feeding, and cook some foods and put them into another asset we call the MidOhio Market. So it really is an opportunity for us, as we look at the market strategy to how can we serve our customers, as we call the folks that come to request help, better.
And as we hear, there's a lot of moving and grooving parts here in this big warehouse. We were talking a little bit about your statistics. So talk to me about what the work looks like on a daily basis.
Well, unfortunately, I have failed miserably at my life's goal. When I started in 1984, I've been doing this for almost 40 years. My dream was to go out of business, that we would not. And at that time, we were giving out about 3 million pounds of food a year. I had 6 employees. Today, we have 180 employees, and we're giving out about 80 million pounds of food a year. Changed drastically. About 66% of all the food we give out now is fresh. So while you're sitting in a warehouse where you're seeing a lot of dry food behind us, we also have a lot of produce and meat and dairy products to go out, and that's the majority of what we want to give to people today. So we actually cover 20 counties, so it's a lot bigger than people think. I think in terms of the reach that we have 680 partners helping us distribute food, and without them, we could not do what we do.
And yes, we talk about the partnership and the work of, all the people that come together to do this great work. When you talk about families and, food scarcity, how can families get connected to the services that you offer, and are there any limitations to that?
Well, our only limitation is it's normally people below 200% of poverty, which doesn't mean much to most people. It's family of three, that's about $48,000 a year. So there's a lot of people here in Franklin County. It's about a third of Franklin County residents are eligible to receive food. It's a pretty simple process. I mean, if they need to identify where to get food, there's a lot of options. They can call 211, which is a simple way to do it. They can go on our website, which is MOFC.org, and there's a Get Help button on there. They can hit that. They can go in and put their zip code into Fresh Track. It's an app we have that allows them to connect to, and that will bring up the pantries in your neighborhood. One of the things we're really adamant about, we're down here in Grove City, and our pantry used to be in this building. It's moved around the corner, and a lot of people were driving from all over the county and some other counties to come here, and we're suggesting, look, we've got great operations, and we just need to make sure you're aware to go and where to go and what the hours are and how to get help. So the room that we're in now is our volunteer center. So we have thousands of volunteers that help us every year get food ready for people to use. And so in this case, we'll often get bulk donations, we'll get big miscellaneous, we'll pick up from retail stores, and we've got to sort and check the product to make sure it's okay. So heavily dependent on volunteers. We then divide it into categories so that when one of our agency partners wants to order it from us, it's all free. But when they want to order it, they know what they're getting. Instead of just getting mystery boxes of miscellaneous canned goods like you would see in a food drive or something, they actually can order the products that they're looking for, that they think they need at their particular pantry or distribution site. So we heavily dependent. We couldn't do this without volunteers. I think the dollar value according to the independent sector of our 100,000 volunteer hours that are put in is over $3 million of free help to us. We obviously could not afford to do that and get this food ready. So it's a great way to take surplus excess food in this country, get it into a ready state that can go to one of our agency partners and ultimately can go to a hungry customer.
Yes, so if I'm watching our broadcast today and I want to volunteer, what can I do? How can I help?
Easiest thing for everybody to do is go to our website. So it's MOFC.org. So it's shorter than MidOhio Food Bank or MidOhio. You can type all that in there. But at the end of the day, it's MOFC.org. We have a volunteer hub button on there. You can go in and electronically schedule a time that's convenient for you. If you're coming by yourself or if you're coming with a group, there's a way for you to schedule. We're really encouraging people to do it in January and February. What often happens is we get a lot of volunteers, as do our agency partners, in November, December. I'm amazed how many people want to serve meals on Thanksgiving and Christmas as a way to help and get their families involved. But the real help is needed after January, when a lot of these groups have been going through a lot to get extra food out and they need a break, and we need a lot of volunteers during January, February. So if people would help then, that would really help our partners. And you can actually sign up for one of our partners to volunteer at their sites as well. So you can stay in your own community and really help the local agency that's supporting people right in where you live.
Yeah, and I loved how you talked about how there were some that were recipients of your donations and now they're giving back. So very cyclical. The reciprocity that exists is really great. Do you want to walk us through and show us just some parts of the space here? It's quite large.
Yeah, so we get product that comes in. It used to get a lot of banana boxes in my early days. We don't get as many. That's a great box for putting unpacked product in, because it's doesn't have a uniform pack, but it's this really sturdy box. But a volunteer's been trained in here on how to. So it's the one place you get training on how to judge food, the good, the bad, and the ugly. They look at code dates, they look at the product. They see a lot of this is dented cans, damaged products, smashed boxes, things you wouldn't pick in the grocery store. If you saw the smashed box, you'd take the one right next to it. Right. That kind. But there's nothing wrong with the product. Some of it's just they're resetting shelves, they're doing all kinds of things. Some of it's seasonal, but it comes in. We have the volunteers have all been trained. They go through every item, they check it. We have a cleaning to wipe it all down. It goes through the conveyor belt system, and then it's categorized as it goes around, and the volunteers work in the conveyor belts will actually put it in the boxes so that if people are looking for vegetables, they're going to get a box of vegetables. If an agency's ordering that, to take it back to their pantry or distribution site. So that's the way this has worked. It's worked this way for a long time, but it's a way for us to take surplus food in this country and get it into a ready-to-use state for people to still consume, because it's perfectly good food. And we don't want to waste it in this. We're really trying to work hard. Part of our big mission is really about reducing food waste and recognizing there's a lot of surplus food that's perfectly good, and if we get it into the right hands, they'll make great meals with it.
Awesome. And the last thing I want to talk to you about is this great innovative idea about a food locker. Talk to us about that and the possible means that you're moving forward with that.
Well, one of the things we realize is more than half the people we help work. And so sometimes the pantry is only open during the hours the volunteers can be there, which could be during work hours for people. So if they can't get there, it doesn't do them any good. We actually once had a customer say to us, I can't afford to shop at a food pantry. And we went, what's that mean? Because it's free. And they went, the 2 days that pantry is open in my neighborhood are the 2 days I work, so they couldn't get access to the product. So the locker system is, learning technology for us. It's stepping into the technological age. So we've got online ordering capability. We've got an ability for the customer to go online, place their order. They get a notice the order's ready. It goes into a locker. This particular set we're experimenting with is on the west side at our MidOhio market at Norton. And the customer then gets a text telling them their order's ready. And they got like 48 hours to pick it up. They can go in there, put in the punch code, punch it in. Same way if anybody's ever used Amazon or any of that kind of stuff that has locker systems. Even some of the pizza shops have locker systems like that now. But this has refrigerated as well as dry. So it's a great way for people to come after work, if they're working second shift, swing by, pick up their food when it's convenient for them. And that's the thing for us. We practice our core values, customer centricity, and we want to make sure that the customer gets good access to the food that we have. And that's one way to do that.
And I love that I read on your website talking about removing the shame and just letting you know and hearing straight from Matt that you don't have to suffer in silence. There are resources, particularly here at the MidOhio Food Collective, that can help you reach out and use all the resources that we're going to share with you. We thank you, Matt, for your time today, and please make sure you get the assistance that you need.
There are thousands of families who wake up each day and don't know where their next meal is going to come from. And embedded in those families are children. And those children have to go to school, and they represent our future. That partnership is a critical part of the puzzle for making Central Ohio a great place to live, work, and raise a family. The best story that I can share with you about my experience with the MidOhio Food Collective is my own experience as a child. We struggled to make it like many families do. And there were times where Mom just didn't have the resources to provide the type of meal that we'd hoped to get. But there are also times when she showed up with a box of food or a box of fresh fruits and vegetables and things. While I didn't know it then as a child, I know now that food was from the MidOhio Food Collective. And so I'm grateful personally for the resource that they provide, again, for those families who sit hopefully in their home and wish for and wonder for better days. And at the beginning of that better day is a good meal.
Thank you for joining us this evening at the table. Tonight, I'm so excited to have two great community partners and organizations that will talk to you families about the services that they offer and that they provide. As you know, at this time, it is difficult to find resources, so we want to bring these resources directly to you. And so today and this evening, I have Mr. Bo Chilton, who is CEO of Impact Community Action. Welcome, Mr. Chilton.
Thank you.
And I also have Hannah Bonacci, who is a tax time program manager, that's a mouthful, right, from the United Way. So welcome, Hannah. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So we want to take some time this evening to just talk about your organizations and the resources that you offer, and then most importantly, how our families can get connected if they should need such resources. So let's go ahead and start, and if you don't mind, Bo, if I may call you, can you tell me about your organization and the work that Impact does?
Absolutely. So Impact Community Action is an organization that serves low-income people, and our goal is to help them achieve self-sufficiency. We do that through a number of programs, emergency assistance for utility bills, for rent. We have a car repair program, water assistance, various things for emergency assistance. And then we have workforce programs, financial literacy, and other programs targeting youth 16 to 24, whether they be in school or out of school, as well as programs that are meant to help people save money on their energy bills. So we have the home weatherization program. On average, we're able to help people save about 28% on their utility bills, which is critically important at a time when, housing costs are going up, energy costs are going up. So we really try and provide a holistic approach, and are fortunate to work with a number of partners, including United Way and the Tax Time Coalition.
Awesome. Sounds like so many great resources. I can't wait for you to dig in more. And Hannah, you are representing the United Way, but in particular, a program called Tax Time. So I wasn't familiar with it. Please tell us and share with us what Tax Time is.
Absolutely. I'm the Tax Time Program Manager, and Tax Time is a program that's operated out of United Way, and the goal is to provide free tax preparation services to low and middle income households across Central Ohio, but also surrounding counties. We've been able to expand over the years, and I like to highlight Tax Time is a program that is housed at United Way, but it truly is this larger coalition, as Bo kind of phrased it, of different stakeholders and partners all across Central Ohio and these surrounding counties who come together to make it possible to provide these free tax preparation services and other financial empowerment opportunities to households across Central Ohio and nearby. In the past year, we had about 20 sites operating, so we're able to provide virtual and in-person services for clients to connect with us and get their taxes prepared. And the threshold changes slightly every year, so I'll share that for this season. To be able to qualify for our services, the threshold is $64,000 as your annual household income or less. There's some caveats here and there, but our experts, when you call in, will make sure we work through that. So as long as $64,000 or less is your household income, you probably qualify for our services. We focus on free tax preparation services, but because a lot of our partners are in the community doing other work, we're often able to provide extra services. So Nationwide Children's Hospital, for example, is a large partner of ours who often connects their clients not only to their tax returns that day when they see them, but they're often focusing on other wraparound services. Impact Community Action is another great example. They're one of our long-term sites, Bo and his team, and so a client who might go get services done for their taxes at Impact might be walking out having done other ones that day for some of the services Bo explained, or they might be connected to future appointments. So really, we're kind of this starting point with the hopes of, as we continue to grow as a coalition, that we can also connect or offer other services.
And I love that. I love that both of you are talking about just the whole family, right? A whole holistic approach to things, because we are seeing so many issues and so many concerns that families are facing. So I want to throw that question out there. From your point of view, what kind of concerns are you seeing in your community at this time?
Yeah, and let me say, on the tax preparation, it is free to households who are at $64,000 or less. And we definitely encourage them to come take advantage of the free tax preparation to get their full refund. And we discourage going to those places which will take in advance. But
yes,
in terms,
free is important.
Free
Yes.
is important, and get your full refund. It just takes a little patience, but yes, you want your full refund. We've actually had situations where we were able to do a look back for 3 years and found that the taxes weren't prepared correctly, and we had a lady who got a return of like $15,000. And with that, she was able to go back to college, get her degree and help advance her career. So
It's life-changing.
Absolutely. But some of the emergency services that we're seeing, of course, everyone in Central Ohio is familiar with the housing. We have a housing crisis. The reality is that our city population is growing faster than our ability to build housing. And so we've seen it reflected in significant increases for rent as well as for home ownership. We've seen the property taxes going up. And so that has also created a spike in eviction rates. I'm glad that we were able to help a lot of people stay safe in their home during the pandemic. We had a lot of federal assistance from the pandemic relief dollars. We were able to serve over 50,000 people over the last 3 years and distribute almost $150 million. However, with the pandemic now being at least under some kind of manageable control, a lot of those dollars have dried up. And so we don't have the level of rent assistance that we once had. We are now targeting our dollars to people who are actually at eviction court. So that is going to create some tough times ahead. One thing that I will say is that we do still have plenty of money for water assistance. We can pay up to $1,500 for people who are at 200% of the federal poverty level. For a family, a single individual, that'd be a household income of about $29,360. For a family of four, that's about $60,000. We can pay that $1,500 on their water bill, whether they're have arrearages or are current. Okay. So then that's something that they can do to have a cushion if they are current. So I definitely want to encourage people to seek assistance for water assistance if they're income eligible, and they do not need an appointment. We take walk-ins, and we have 3 different sites.
Excellent, and thank you. I appreciate both of you even specifying, because 200% is, what is that, right? Yes. But I appreciate you specifically mentioning 29,000 and 64,000. That's more tangible for families to understand. Hannah, from your point of view, even though you're specific with working with taxes, what issues do you see when families are, having to do their taxes? What keeps them or prevents them from doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think to echo what Bo was sharing, I see the general issue of more and more households aren't able to meet their basic needs. We heard internally at United Way a couple weeks ago this statistic that there's over 1 million households across Franklin County that are above the federal poverty line, but still struggle to meet their basic needs. And we hear about that. We see that clients come in, they kind of share their stories. We're a trusted partner to a lot of people who come back to us every year to get their taxes done. And so while I'm not necessarily at every appointment, I have amazing volunteers who share those stories. And so we're hearing about this countrywide, statewide need that, yes, the pandemic has kind of calmed down, but also those dollars of assistance have gone down. So specifically, we've had some concerns for clients last season. I imagine it'll still be felt this season of there were extra dollars available in certain credits and refunds, such as the child tax credit, to try and assist with relief with COVID. And last season, that was lowered across the country. And while we were made aware of it, that's hard for a household who got that, felt that, kind of bonus and counted on it. And then, a year later here's, okay, it's not the same. But it's hard to plan for that when you're not on top of it. So that's something I imagine we'll kind of see as a concern. Some other concerns, and I want everybody to know, listening to this, we come in hoping we can provide the best refund for a client, but some households come in owing, and that might happen, and that can make a household nervous. We want you to know, please still come get our services if you qualify, because we'll make sure you owe as little as possible based on your situation. Another big concern is it can make you nervous or scared to get a letter from the IRS for whatever reason related to your taxes, and our volunteers are equipped in some ways to be able to work through those with clients, but even more so, one of the benefits of this large tax time coalition we have is our partnership with the Legal Aid Society of Columbus. We have a referral opportunity where if a client comes in under certain circumstances and has a letter, or we just notice there might be some legal concerns, typically if you qualify for our services, you're going to qualify to be referred to Legal Aid Society of Columbus, and we're able to help a client schedule an appointment, free legal counsel related to their taxes. So those are probably the biggest concerns that have been present for us lately.
Do you mind talking about some of the other programs that you offer to the families? Just if there's one or two that you want to highlight now that we have this audience.
Absolutely. One I definitely want to highlight, especially for our youth, is our AMP program, Achieve More to Prosper. We work with, we've pulled a lot of students from South High School and from Marion Franklin because we're located on the south side, but we serve all of Franklin County. And so this is a program that helps youth who may have some barriers, maybe justice involved or on free or reduced lunch, some barriers and one additional support. we help with that. We provide counseling, supportive services, summer employment opportunities. We want to make sure that they have a good footing. And we focus on 3 different things: employment, or furthering their education, or enlistment in the military. And so this is definitely a program that can provide additional support to students to ensure their success. The other thing that I would point to is a really fun program that we've been able to do. It's called Boss Up. And it's teaching, yes, it's teaching entrepreneurial skills to young people. And so we had a great cohort. We did a Shark Tank event at Columbus South. We had, I think, Michelle Callender from Columbus City School District, I think, served as a judge. But man, we had some phenomenal presentations, and they received awards for the top 3 and got match dollars. And so we're trying to help support entrepreneurship amongst young people. We know we got a lot of influencers out there on social media and Facebook today. So hopefully you get in touch with our Boss Up program.
I love that. Yeah, that is. And again, getting it early, right? Getting those skills, talking about skills, employment, getting the vocabulary in, right? About how to be an entrepreneur. Because, I mean, it's fun, and my friend Seneca always makes fun of me. I try to say hip, and that's not hip to say that. But Hannah, in terms of jobs, I just want to ask, are there opportunities for families who are in need of job? Is there anything that they can, look into with tax time?
That's a great question. So tax time, really the only direct service we provide is the free tax preparation services and financial empowerment or education opportunities, depending on what partners are involved each season. So I would say in terms of jobs, that's not necessarily our avenue, but United Way is connected to over 90 funded partner agencies, in our network. And so if somebody was to come to United Way because they don't know where else to go to request help to find something such as jobs, what I can assure you of is one of our colleagues will make sure you're leaving with at least a next step resource.
Very comprehensive approach of not just passing someone along. And one of the things that I heard you say about trust, a lot of families have lost trust in certain institutions. And so I know as a school district, we're trying to regain trust oftentimes with our key constituents, our students and our staff and our families. So thank you both, and I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for tuning into Faces, the show that gives you access to all points Columbus and Columbus City Schools.
From our district departments to our community partners, we are bringing our families and community together for a conversation to discover what connects us all, the joy of learning.
Remember, be courageous.
Be yourself. Be the light you wish to see.